Better late than never, I guess. For those who are putting that asterisk next to my Boston Diehard's name for not seeing The Departed, you can remove it now because I saw it and it was awesome. Really quickly, just want to point out almost 80% of the people watching my videos are not subscribed. Definitely want to get that number down. So if you like this content, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out and I appreciate it. I really don't have any excuses as to why it took me this long, especially when you consider, if you follow me on this channel, I love movies. I make that pretty clear. I love Scorsese and obviously I love Boston. So it's like, all the boxes are checked off, so like why the fuck haven't you seen the movie that's the perfect embodiment of those boxes? Fair question. I don't have an answer to it. It just kind of escaped me for all this time. You can point to me being young as the only possible excuse there. I was 8, so obviously I didn't see it when it came out, and I think I'd have pretty shitty parents if I was seeing The Departed at age 8. But I had plenty of time since then. I'm a movie nerd in general, so I've seen plenty of classics that were before my time. So my list of excuses is 0. I never got to it, but now I have. And it was just funny because I knew that if I'm putting that out there, that I'm gonna get some flack for it. And I effectively got ratioed on Twitter, which pretty much never ever happens. There were like over 100 comments on the damn thing, and the comments ranged from anger that I run this account and I haven't seen the most Boston movie ever. If you want to debate this or the town, like whatever, but I think it's probably this. Ranged from those comments that ranged from, happy you're getting to see it, like enjoy it, kid, to just like disbelief, like shock, all that stuff, making jokes, whatever. I deserved all of it. So yeah, I clearly committed a cardinal sin and I'm a bit of a fraud, but I've seen it now. And to no one's surprised, I loved it. A lot of the comments were saying that it's like their favorite movie ever, or like, up there at the top. I don't blame you. This thing freaking rules. I loved every second of it. I'm not all the way caught up on Scorsese's films, but from what I've seen, this is definitely my favorite, I think. But the reason why it sticks out to me, it's not because it takes place in Boston, and it's not because of the preconceived notion that I'm supposed to love it. It's the cast, it's the acting, it's the direction. It's all brilliant. I mean, top to bottom, the acting is off the charts. From Leo to Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, Alec Baldwin is really good in this movie. Am I missing anyone else? Vera Farmiga's good. All these guys, especially singling out Damon and Leo. Matt Damon, this is my favorite Matt Damon role. I mean, I love him in Jason Bourne. I haven't seen The Martian, so I can't, that's not within my knowledge. But here, he is just such an asshole, and he plays, well, to be fair, a lot of characters in this movie are assholes, but he's like the worst offender. He's so manipulative and just like evil and overconfident and cocky, and you really just want to sock the guy in the mouth. I mean, he sucks. He's a great character and the acting is brilliant. But he, as a person, as a human being within the movie, you just want to kick the guy in the teeth. I mean, you really do. And I don't know who was in the running for Best Actor in 2006, but Leo not being in that category is a crock of shit, because that guy rules. He's awesome in everything he's in. Seriously, everything he's in. But this especially, man, he knocks it out of the park. And you feel for the guy. He's in a really shit position pretty much the whole movie, and then you think he gets the upper hand at the end and he gets his brains blown out. Now, the acting is great, but also what they're saying, the dialogue, Scorsese's dialogue, it's just really snappy, it's really crisp, it's totally Boston. Everybody has like the masshole comments, like this really smug attitude, like the F you, blow me, like all that stuff. It was awesome. It was super, super funny. I was laughing a lot. And I was laughing at mostly people being jerks to each other. But it was hilarious. Like, sue me, you were laughing too. And the story is just really, really interesting. We've seen mole stories before. You got to find out, who's the mole, who's giving up the details, whatever. But to have 2 moles within opposite factions trying to find each other first, and it's a race to see which mole's going to get caught first, the good guys or the bad guys, that's sick. I mean, that's brilliant. And I know this was a remake of I'm forgetting what it's called, but it's a remake of something. So like that, it wasn't an original idea. But it is something that you don't usually see, and Scorsese puts his own twists and spin on things, which sets it apart, makes it unique. But yeah, so the story's really interesting, and there's just so much tension that's infused throughout this whole plot. You know, you're always on edge depending on who you're following, because there's always someone that's at risk of getting caught at like any given time. You know, and there's so many different people who have different agendas and like all this stuff. One of the perfect examples of what I'm talking about is there's a phone call between Leo's character and Matt Damon's character. There's a phone call between them. They don't say a single word. And it might be my most, like, my favorite scene in the movie. They don't say a word, and it's the most, like, the tensest feeling, like, you'll ever feel. Because you know that they know that each other is the other mole that they're looking for, and you could just feel it. And them saying nothing, it just like it sends chills up your spine, and that is so hard to pull off, and it could fall super flat, and it could be really awkward, and it can just be bad. But it works, and it works so well because of everything that had led up before that and the performances of Leo and Damon. And there are scenes like that are throughout this movie, and it makes for a really awesome experience. There's so many memorable lines, and I'm gonna have to watch it a couple more times before I remember more of them. But there were so many to choose from where it's like, that's awesome, that's a good line, that was really good. There's so many that just like stick with you because they're so clever, they're so quick, they're just smart. They're really good comebacks. It's so funny. Going into it, unfortunately, I did know some spoilers. I knew that as soon as the elevator door opens that Leo gets shot in the face. I didn't know by who, but I knew that happened. And unfortunately, I knew that at the end that Mark Wahlberg was going to be the one to kill Matt Damon. However, I think the fact that knowing those huge spoilers and having that not ruin the experience for me, I think that's saying something. Because I still loved this movie. I wish I didn't know that, because that would have been, you know, the shock value would have been there for me. Unfortunately, it wasn't, but that didn't stop me from loving the hell out of this movie, and I think that's important to say. Well, I do love it, and I think it's pretty close to perfect. I mean, not everything's perfect, and you can nitpick stuff if you want. But it's at the end of the day, it's not really that important. But I'm still gonna do it. So it was just really funny to me how like blatantly idiotic the bad guys are. So you know, and they know that Leo was a former cop. And sure, they covered it up. They made stuff look like a misdemeanor, and you know that was a former aspect of his life, and that he had moved on from it. But then the story goes along. They realize that there was a mole amongst them, and you know before that they had questioned him like, "Are you still a cop? Are you still a cop? Whatever." But then things keep happening. They know one of them is a mole, but they really don't question the former cop again. It's like, you morons. There is a mole amongst you, and one of them is a former cop. Who do you think it is? I mean, honestly. And I know he's given you reasons to trust him and to think that he's not a cop anymore, but you would think after you know there's a mole within your unit that you would go after the former cop and really interrogate him about it. And they don't really do that. They just go along with it. And then later on in the movie, when he's meeting with, I'm forgetting the guy's name, the one who gets chucked off the roof and splats on the ground. When he's meeting with him, the bad guys, the rest of them, they go to catch whoever the mole is because they know that they're meeting at the top of the building. They go there. Everybody else is there except for Leo. So they go up, and Leo escapes down the fire escape, and the rest of them go up, they chuck him off the roof. They know whoever the informant was, or the mole, I should say, was just there. Every single one of them except Leo is there. Who do you think it is? There is literally one person it could be, and it's right there. And then they find him on the street, which, like, duh, he just ran away, you morons. They find him on the street and they say, "Come on, Leo, get in the van." And I'm like, you're not gonna ask him why he was there. And sure, they had called him and said, "Hey, get over here, like this is happening." But That's so stupid. Like, now you have a former cop who's also acting suspicious, and you're just gonna go along with it. And again, this is nitpicky stuff, but like, it was just funny to me. And then also, Jack Nicholson, loved him in this movie, but really, really dumb, man, to put yourself in a place where you know the cops are onto you and that it might be dangerous. And I know that he felt immune because he was an FBI informant, so he felt protection by that. But like, if you're the head man, you know, of crime syndicate, whatever, you would think that in order to live, you got to keep yourself out of dangerous situations. And he didn't do that. He wanted to be a part of it, and I know he felt protected, but like, it just seems kind of dumb to put yourself in that situation when there's so much at stake. So like, you idiot, you kind of deserve to die. And now he deserved to die anyways because he was a shit human being. And I didn't really love the whole girlfriend side plot, you know, who was having affairs with both Damon and Leo. I could have done without it. I just feel like it didn't really go anywhere in the end. And the rest of the story is so tense and like interesting, and it moves really quickly. And I just felt like whenever we went back to her and either Damon or Leo, it kind of dragged on for a little bit. I don't know. I just wasn't a huge fan of her. But yeah, the first like 2 acts, maybe even 2.5, it's really tense. There's a lot of build up, really quotable, fun dialogue, awesome, you know, going back and forth between the different moles, really tense, awesome stuff. The last act, half act, body count rises through the roof. You know, we got really intense action. We got main characters dying left and right. And it's just a hell of a ride, with an awesome ending too. You're like, shit, man, like, this asshole Damon is really gonna get away with all that stuff. And it's like, nope, Marky Mark came back with a vengeance, and now you're dead too, bud. But yeah, from start to finish, I was thoroughly entertained. The performances were really fun, really quotable dialogue. You know, the story was really interesting, all the way around. It was awesome. I'm pissed that it took me so long to watch it. I don't have any excuses, but I'm glad that now I have that under my belt. So yeah, what do you guys think of The Departed? Should I be punished for waiting this long to see it? Comment below, let me know. As always, like and subscribe, and yeah.